What's up, guys? Hey, Mike here. I'm going to do a video answering a question that I had. And that question was, how do you know if a real estate market is healthy? Well, first of all, we need to know a little bit about supply and demand, basic economics, right? As supply goes up, right, if demand stays constant, right, demand being the desire to have something, a product, the supply of that product goes up. For instance, houses on the market. If a bunch of people are trying to sell, and where there used to be 100 houses on the market, now there's 200 houses on the market, right? Supply went up, but demand stayed the same. There's only 50 buyers. Then that means prices are going to fall, right? So supply goes up, demand stays the same, prices fall. If supply goes up and demand goes up, prices are going to stay relatively similar. If demand and supply are rising and falling at the same level, you're going to have equilibrium. You're going to have a kind of smooth balance. And then, of course, if demand stays the same and supply drops, then prices are going to go through the roof instead of the opposite direction, right? If the supply goes from 100 houses just down to 20 houses, but you got 50 buyers, the prices are going to go up. And why is that, right? Well, you've got 50 buyers and 20 houses, right? So only 20 people are getting houses. And so out of those 50 people, they're going to bid against each other. Okay, I'll pay a little bit more. No, I'll pay a little bit more. No, I'll pay a little bit more until the price goes up through the roof. Because the suppliers, the sellers, know that they can take advantage of that and have people competitively offer and make them offers on their home they're trying to sell. That's what's called a seller's market. And then, of course, the flip side is the buyer's market, which is when there's a ton of houses and not very many buyers, like right after the financial crash, right? 2009, 2010, 2011. Everyone's trying to sell their house. Nobody's trying to buy, okay? So everyone's housing values dropped an insane amount because nobody could sell their property. It's like, okay, we got to drop the price. We got to sell this property. We're going to get foreclosed on. Drop the price, drop the price, drop the price, drop the price. Just get rid of it. It's a seller's, it's a buyer's market. So this can be applied on a national level. This can be applied in a local level. I live in Seattle, which is one of the hottest real estate markets in the country. Everything is incredibly expensive right now. Supply is way down for housing. There's very few houses for the amount of people looking to make a purchase. So prices are through the roof. Average cost of a home's over $400,000. It's going up 10%. It's just over and over and over again, just up, 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 up. Nationally, last 3 years, real estate prices for houses up 20%. Okay, so that's just how supply and demand works. So how do you know if the market, again, is healthy? Is that your supply and demand are rising and falling in equilibrium at approximately the same rate, so that prices are not either skyrocketing or falling. And that's our first indicator of how you know you have a healthy market. Okay, folks, the next one is, I don't know if you can see right here or not, but months supply, okay? And that indicates how many months that it would take for the market to sell off all the current houses that are listed, right? How many months would it take if no new houses were being added to the market, would it take to sell all the houses that exist on the market? And I don't know where the figure comes from, but apparently a 6 month supply is considered healthy. So it would take 6 months to sell off all the houses on the market, provided no new houses were coming on. Okay, that's considered healthy. So if it would take you 1 month to sell off all those houses, like you probably would here in Seattle, where there's so many buyers and so few houses, that's considered unhealthy. And then, of course, if it would take you a year or 2 years just to sell everything that's on the market today, well, that means that for whole years, new people can't bring houses to the market because there's no buyers for them, right? That's going to indicate an unhealthy market as well, right? Kind of goes right back to our rapidly rising and falling. It all intertwines. Time on the market, a little bit less impactful because, and this refers to how long a house has been on the market, time on the market. Because when you put your house on the market, like the MLS, multiple listing service, if it's been on the market for 2 months, you can take it off the market and then put it back on the market again 3 months later, and it resets the time, okay? So time on market can be finagled a little bit, put it on one site versus another. Let's not put it on the MLS, let's put it on Zillow or something like that. So it can be finagled a little bit. But obviously, again, it's going to go to that month's supply. Are all of the houses in the market on that market for a long, long time instead of selling off at a relatively considerable rate? That's unhealthy. And then you look at Seattle, again, houses are on the market for 3 days. A friend of mine named Brian just sold his house. He lived in Covington, Washington, and he just moved to Puyallup. And he put his house on the market. He bought in 2010 during the bottom of the market, right? He bought at the perfect time. His house increased $200,000 in equity just by holding on to it. Not even what he put in payments, just by holding on to that $200,000 up. And he sold a few months ago and bought a new house. He said his house was on the market for 4 days before he got a full list price offer on it, and he sold it. And he sold the thing for over $400,000. So time on the market really low, not necessarily a good thing in terms of it being a buyer's friendly market. And time on the market really high, not necessarily a good thing in terms of it being a seller's market. And last thing we're going to talk about is list to sale, right? And there's a couple other phrases in there, but list to sale. So that means how much did the house actually sell for, $150,000, versus how much it was listed for, $140,000. If it sells for more than it's listed, then what you do is you take that number it sold by, $150,000, and divide it by the number that it was listed for, $140,000. And you're going to get a number that's over a 1. If you get that number that's over a 1, you can multiply it by a 100 and you'll get the percentage. So let's say it's a 1.1. So then you'll have 110%. Anything above 100%, a market where the houses are consistently above 100% is going to be a seller's market. A market where houses consistently are below 100%, right? It's sold for 130, but it was listed for 140. Anything where it's below consistently 100% is going to be a buyer's market. It means this is a good time to buy. Houses are getting listed. They're actually worth less than that right now, so let's go buy. These are the 4 things I found just by reading a few different articles. Again, I'm not an expert in this. I just had a question and went and researched it. Thought maybe other people might have a question as well. If you have more insights as to indicators for a healthy market, please, by all means, how to assess if a market is healthy. Come on, you son of a gun. Healthy. There we go. Typo. If you have other ideas or thoughts that you would like to add to this, maybe you're a real estate agent who has some good insights, please throw it in the comments. This is just what I researched by reading some articles. Makes sense, obviously. If everything's too expensive, that's not good. And if everything is dirt cheap, well, that's not good. Depending on which hat you're wearing, a buyer's or a seller's hat, it's not going to be good either way. So a healthy equilibrium and balance, right, in all things in life is usually more ideal. And here in Seattle, let me tell you, that is not the case. It's incredibly expensive to buy anything. It's very tough to get into the market. You're going to spend a lot. You're going to be over list price. Everything's grossly inflated. It's beginning to look like a bubble, right? It's not me saying it because I don't have the expertise. That's me rehashing what I've heard many other people say, which concerns me. But, it is what it is. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this helped. It helped me to read about it. If you got any other questions, just let me know in the comments, and we'll catch you next time.